And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Saturday edition of the Paranormal Portal, including Paranormal Portal Live as we speak. So how you guys doing out there? Hope you're doing great. This is it. We are currently streaming not only to TFR Live, but also to YouTube at the same time.
Simulcasting.
We have crossed a productive, I don't know what to say.
Barrier.
Threshold.
Threshold? Yeah, sure.
This is one hell of a threshold. And we finally crossed it, Don. We made it. We're here.
Woo!
Okay, that was right in my ears.
Well, okay.
But I appreciate your exuberance. Don't get me wrong. And, of course, I'm Brent Thomas. And can you see me? Holy God, is it dark?
Yeah, there you Oh, look at you.
Look at me. There I am.
There he is.
I'm here. I'm here, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully you can see me, at least as much as I want you to. So this is the Paranormal Portal. We hope you're doing great. And again, we are on YouTube Live at this same moment. Go to youtube.com/Paranormal Portal. You can catch us live doing this as we speak. And you can see the mayhem that makes up what is the portal. And so I don't know how this is going to work, ladies and gentlemen. This is a new one for me. It's something we tried long ago, but it crashed and burned so badly. It crashed and burned so badly.
Oh my
Let me tell you, I needed therapy after that one, ladies and gentlemen. But I'm back and I'm better. And there's quite a few of you out there. Thanks for being here, everybody. If you're coming from TFR, almost 1,000 of you there. iHeartRadio, 2,174 of you tuning in. The phone lines, 158, and tune-ins bringing in a 45 number for us. So God love you wherever you are. Thanks for being here.
That is incredible. That's 3 weeks now. Or 2 weeks now. 2
weeks
now.
with
nice. These heavy numbers.
Epic numbers, ladies and gentlemen. And we are thrilled you are here with us, and we hope we make it worth your while. So I do apologize because there's about 5 different chats going on now. And Don and I are going to do our best to keep up with them. But as this is a new venture, it's hard to just keep track of it all. So I see Don's in there. Thank you, Don, for taking care of the YouTube. And I'm looking at the TFR a little bit here, and I think we're in good business. So we are not on Facebook. We are just on YouTube. I don't know if Dawn was talking about that Undaunted in the chat room. But ladies and gentlemen, I do have the call-in lines are up and working as well tonight. So if you want to call in and be a part of the Paranormal Portal, you have something paranormal you'd like to share, or you want to discuss something paranormal, please let us know. The call-in number here at TFR is... something TFR Live. It is 833 TFR Live, which is 833-837-5423.
Wow.
Again, 833 TFR Live, which is 833-837-5423. So you too can call in. Otherwise, if you just want to use the normal call in, it's 213-233-3998. And we are absolutely thrilled to hear what you got to say. So please feel free and call in. I would like to ask everybody, I know the sound last night sounded like I broadcast with a soup can and some string, so I'm hoping that tonight it sounds a little better. I've been working on the studio setup. I've been working on making everything, sound professional, as it were. So as much as I can anyway. Professional's an elusive term around here, but...
An elusive term, yes.
Are you muted?
I am now, yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
Sorry about
go.
that.
Okay.
I did that because I wanted to monitor the TFR stream, and it sounds strong.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
When we sound good, I hope. So it sounds much better, Dawn says in the chat room. Thank you, Dawn. Hey, Deb, thanks for coming in. All right. We are doing everything we can.
Wow, we're rolling.
Ken, thanks for the feedback on the YouTube stream. That's really cool. This is great. But last night it sounded horrible, and I realized I had some configuration issues with my sound through Skype, and I got that all straightened out. So here I am, and also I'd like to welcome to the show Don Beard. He used to be Don Longbeard, but he's now just Don Beard.
Just Don Beard.
Or Don 5 o'clock shadow.
Down beard, because it's just kind of downy now. Down and outy.
So I don't know. He's gonna have to postpone his audition for Duck Dynasty
Yeah.
for a little while anyway.
Duck Commander.
Duck Commander Don. But hopefully that'll grow back in quick order, and
Have our Don back.
It's almost like having a new co-host for me. When he came over, it's like, "Who are you? What have you done with Don?"
Don buzzcut face.
Nah, you look fine, brother. It's just it is a different look, though. I mean, it's just,
well, this is the old look. This is the old look. Actually, I've had that long beard for 2 years, and there are professional reasons I had to say goodbye to it for now.
That's right.
Yeah,
Everybody
I know says I like your long beard better. I do too.
I don't know if that's a compliment or what. That's kind of. I think you look great, however you choose to be, brother.
Somebody said it makes you look 20 years older. Like, really?
The beard does?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like, great. Thanks.
You do. You do look younger to me. I don't know. I don't know what you're going for here, but
well, this is what I had when we originally met.
I know
that's when it's like
right. And it's funny because even when I've had like a goatee, I've had the whole goatee thing cooking, and then when I shave it off, it looks weird to me. It's like, wow, does my lip really look like that?
Yeah, no doubt.
But I can't do a full beard to save my life. I look, like I just rolled in some hair, and there's little patches. Yeah, I can't do the whole full beard thing like you can. I don't know. Maybe those chromosomes didn't kick in the same for me or something. I don't know.
No doubt.
I don't know. But I got kind of a baby face, I guess.
Well, be happy and feel lucky.
Why? That I can't grow a beard?
Well, no, that you got the baby face to support it. I have a butt chin. That's why I grow the beard. That's why I have the goatee originally. I've had that thing for 30 years now. Holy
My new
crap.
co-host, ladies and gentlemen, Don Buttchin.
Don Buttchin. And for those of you who don't know, we are live YouTube, so you can actually see it.
Yeah, you can see it right on YouTube, ladies and gentlemen. Just go to youtube.com/paranormal portal and you will find us. It's not a titled stream currently. I know I gotta Chris actually showed me briefly how you launch a stream so it's already made and named and stuff, but I don't know. He went through it at Chris speed, which means I'll need to just,
ludicrous speed.
Yeah, I know. I'll need to record it and play it back on like 1/3 speed or 1/8 to see what the hell he did.
I'm going to switch over to Paranormal real quick and then post the live stream on the Paranormal page just so people know.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I didn't really announce it too much that we're going to do this tonight because if it came up in a burning heap, I didn't want a lot of disappointed people. But it's one of those things that, you don't let everybody know that you're trying your prototype rocket out yet.
Unless, of course, it's like steam powered and you're trying to prove that the Earth.
Well, yeah, that's a whole different deal.
That's a different kind. Sorry,
that's a whole different deal. But yeah, I don't know. There again though. He's like, this is version 2. I'm going to do it, and then it ended up not happening as well. So
well, yeah, he didn't feel comfortable, I guess, with it. So
I wouldn't feel comfortable going up in a steam rocket either. But
well, hey, you know what?
I mean,
there is that Canadian that did the Pooh Bear thing, and he tied all those balloons to his lawn chair, and he took a 22 with him, and so as he went up to come down, he just shot the balloons.
Wow, there you go, ladies and gentlemen.
That was awesome.
Where there's a will, there's a way.
Awesome.
That's the whole Darwinism.
I know.
Right there.
The Darwin Awards kick in.
I know. It's like, wow, really? But yeah, and like this guy built a steam rocket so that he could go check out if the Earth was flat or not. And God bless him. I mean, God, if you're willing to make that kind of commitment just to find the truth, that's pretty cool.
That's not exactly a leap, is it?
Well, you know what I'm saying, though. I mean, it's enough of a question in his mind that he wants the answers,
Yeah,
and he's willing to invest his blood, sweat, and tears into finding out. So I got to respect him for that alone. But I mean, what the hell's his middle name? Wile E. Coyote. So, I'm going to order my Acme rocket, and wow, I don't know.
I think that's just the wrong way to go about scientifically proving that kind of an issue. I mean, okay, so it's steam powered, so it's not. He doesn't have to worry about jet propulsion and stuff like that. But
right.
and the pure octane,
Yeah.
But wow.
Yeah. Either way, it's a lot of bravery anyway, or foolishness maybe, but. You got to love that spirit anyway. I don't know. At least I find that respectful. It's like, you want answers and you're willing to go to that length, then wow, you must be really devoted to whatever that truth is.
Yeah, your belief. Yeah, whatever your truth is. Yeah, exactly.
So,
real quick, shout out to Estrella, our favorite one.
oh, Estrella, how you doing, little girl?
She says hi.
Woo! Woo! Good to see you. I hope you can see me. I hope you're doing wonderful, and hope you're learning bunches and in school, and and I hope you're learning bunches on the portal. We are here to instruct you in the ways of the arcane. But welcome to the show, Australia. We're thrilled you're here, and hopefully you can make it. I don't know. I've gotten some pictures on Facebook where you kind of didn't make it to the finish line. So,
She gave it a try.
Don't take it personally. Sometimes I don't
gave
make
it
it to the finish line. It's like I'm sometimes sitting in my chair going, "Oh my God,
where are we? What are we doing?"
Oh, why am I here? What's my motivation? No, it's cool. We're just thrilled you guys are here. So in the dark arts, yeah, we do give instruction in the dark arts drone.
Just
It's awful
call-
dark in here. I mean,
Just
look.
call him Snape.
Yeah, my name is Snape.
My name is Snape.
That's right.
Do.
Is that a song, or did you just?
Did
you just do that in your head?
Rolled on out. Yep. It just.
Yeah, there's a reason
Popped
I have
out
a
there.
mute button.
Uh-huh.
Thank you for reaffirming that.
Thank you for reminding me.
Thank you for reminding me I have the power to mute you at will.
Wow.
So anyway, since it was such a, we were doing quite a bit of configuring before the show tonight, so we're just going to kind of do a paranormal hodgepodge as far as what the show is about. Of course, it's going to be about ghosts, but I didn't really have a theme picked out. I didn't really, I didn't know what kind of show we were looking at tonight because
Don Dumbledore.
Don Dumbledore. Wow.
Wow.
Or Don Doubledore.
Oh, wait. Whoa.
Thank you.
Too many connotations on that one.
Oh, I was just making I don't know. It was funny in my head. What can I say?
God love you, Brent. We love you so much.
Absolutely. But
Oh, wow.
the entertainment's free, ladies and gentlemen, so enjoy it while it lasts. Some people pay for stuff like this. I'm just saying.
Yeah, no doubt.
We're doing it for free
Yep.
because we love you.
We love you all.
So how are we doing on YouTube, Don? We're looking good?
Yeah, we're looking good. We got 5 people in there right now,
Woo!
but that's because they're not used to us being in there. So, that's
We're
a
not-
Friday. They're not.
We're not
there.
really used to being in there either, so that's kind of all of us at this point. But we're hoping to get used to it now that we have a stable platform and can do this.
Yes, that'd be nice.
I know,
My
right?
Goodness. Yep.
I'm with it. I'm with it.
We're
I
doing
should
it.
quit
Doing
hiding
it.
again.
Doing it well.
I don't know what's going on here. My head's just kind of, I don't know. Maybe I need more light.
Well, maybe if you take that monitor and tip it this way.
It doesn't tip. That monitor just doesn't tip. I don't know. I'm looking at my hair going, hey, how do I look? Am I
God,
okay?
he's being terrible today. He's having a terrible day. It's terrible.
Absolutely.
Goodness.
Okay, so anyway, in the last couple shows, I've been reading through this list, and I'm at like number 45 now out of 49. So I do want to polish off this list because I've liked these stories, and basically they're people just having ghost encounters, and I just like ghost encounter stories. So I'm going to do my best to keep an eye on the phone board too because it's working, and we have that ability. I'm almost nervous if somebody does call in because it'll be one more thing I got to click and take care of, but I guess there's no better way to learn. But
That's
anyway,
true.
YouTube,
Trial by fire.
that's right. All right, so here we go. This story is called That Was When I Realized He Was Gone. Back in 2007, my grandpa finally lost his 20-year battle with leukemia. My grandma couldn't manage well being alone in the house they lived in for almost 60 years. We moved my grandmother into an assisted living residence a few months later, and for insurance reasons, vacant property. My parents asked me if I'd like to move into the house so that I could watch the house and also to move out and not live at home. I said absolutely.
It's about time.
Yeah. I remember right after he passed away, strange things started happening. All right, let me go to the next page and get ready to close the ad, which will be happening. No, yes, there it is. Big full screen bastard too. It's just terrible. The portrait we had of him in the living room fell off its hook. Picture frames containing pictures of him flipped onto their front during the night. I didn't mind though because I thought my grandma was making it up. Before I moved in, my family got a big dumpster so we could clean some of the clutter out of the house. Since we'd spend most of the day cleaning and it was summer, we'd bring the family dog with us. My grandpa loved our dog dearly, but since he passed, my dog wouldn't go down to the basement anymore, where my grandpa spent most of his time in his office. She refused to go into the basement at all and barked at the stairway a few times. That's creepy. This was weird since our dog almost never barked. It finally made me think, he's here. I moved in shortly after. While I lived there, things went missing all of the time. I had bought a new lock set to change the back door lock, brought it home, put it in the cupboard to tackle on the weekend. A few days later, I go to change the lock, and it's gone. After a week of looking around, I finally found it in the trunk of my uncle's old BMW 2002, which he stored in the garage. I happened to be looking at the car.
Wow.
My grandpa was always a prankster, so I almost came to expect these occurrences. He used to wake up at 5:30 every morning to listen to the early news on the radio in the kitchen. I'd wake up some mornings and the radio would be on. I often heard typewriter noises coming from his office in the basement. It became comforting. I found myself talking to my grandpa out loud, having conversations with him. I missed him. After about 6 months, suddenly I wasn't hearing noises anymore. Nothing was going on. Nothing was going missing. The radio wasn't turning on at 5:30. Excuse me. I shrugged it off for a few days, but it started to worry me. I went back to my parents and grabbed the dog, brought her back. She was apprehensive at first, but she entered the house. There was an issue, though. Every time she'd been over since my grandpa died, as I mentioned earlier, she refused to go downstairs. This time, though, she went downstairs and went right to his office. Nothing was any different about the office, but she wasn't barking. She wasn't pacing. She wasn't doing anything. That was when I realized he was gone. I broke down. Suddenly I felt incredibly alone. Even though it had been about 8 months since he died, it was the first time I felt like he was gone.
Oh, wow.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's a tough one.
Yep.
They can't wait around forever, I guess. But it was nice he was there for a while. I don't know. The next one is they hadn't been there before. All right, bear with me on this one. As a teen, I used to sneak out of our house a lot with some friends of mine. One of our friends lived a few miles away from the rest of us, so we'd have to go on a bit of a hike to go retrieve him. The shortest way to get to his house was to cut through the local farm's property in order to get to his neighborhood. We did this rather frequently and would often meet up in a cluster of rocks at the edge of the property that was overlooking their field of corn. One night after our typical mischief had concluded, I went with everyone to walk them home. Finally, it was just me and the friend that lived far off. We walked through the cornfield as usual, and nothing was amiss. I was only up about to the waist... It was only up to about waist high on a 13-year-old at this point in the year, so it was pretty obvious that the field was abandoned. Excuse me. Anyhow, we reached the far side and sat down on a cluster of rocks to talk for a bit. Typical teenage crap, girls we liked, what our plans for our futures were. While I'm talking to him, I notice my friend's face slowly go pale, and I give him a questioning look. He grabs my shoulder and points out into the cornfield. Scattered in different spots all over the cornfield we just walked through, not 5 minutes before, are 5 distinct shadowy figures, drastically taller than the corn. They were about 6 feet tall, and they weren't moving. It would be easy to brush them off as just being tricks of the light or scarecrows, as something else logical, except that we had literally just walked through that field. Sorry, I'm just dry as hell. And there had been nothing there. We were both stricken with terror, afraid to even move as we stared at them. But they never moved an inch, never came towards us, never moved away. They were just spread out to be a group of looming teens. What finally startled us into action was the farm dog starting to go absolutely ballistic inside the house, barking his head off and going crazy. We weren't anywhere near the dog's line of sight. We ran like hell, and we stopped for breath. I looked up. The entire sky was clouded over except for one little gap in the clouds that only the moon was shining through. It was the most surreal and terrifying experience of my life, and I can't explain it to this day.
Wow.
That is very weird. I don't know.
Children of the corn.
Yeah. It sounds like adults of the corn. I don't know. That was not tall corn. That was a creepy movie, Children of the Corn.
No, yeah, it was. I have a friend who was born not but 20 miles from that particular field.
Where they filmed it?
Yeah, in Iowa. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was pretty close.
Wow.
Crazy.
Crazy.
Crazy for feeling so lonely.
That's just not the stream I want to leave on YouTube at all. That's just not the way the stream should be going. Let's just promise never to do that again. Okay, Don?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Okay. It's not Show Tunes Portal or whatever the hell that is.
I'm so glad you can't see me over here.
What are you doing?
Nothing.
You're typing.
Nothing. Ha ha ha.
All right. This next one is called The Haunted French Chalet. This happened 6 or 8 weeks ago. As someone who has had no reason to believe in ghosts, I will share a little shaker. A little shaker? I don't know. This winter season, my boyfriend and I are working in an old chalet in a French mountain village. We live with another guy who has also worked in the chalet for last year. He told us that 2 separate guests on different weeks staying in bedrooms on the ground floor reported seeing a ghost standing at the end of their bed. One of them saw the ghost, apparently a girl, turn and walk through the wall. My boyfriend and I shrugged this off. I figured that seeing a figure at the end of your bed has got to be one of those common half-sleep delusions, and that if I bothered to Google it, there'd be tons of explanations. There always is. I'm so sorry I'm coughing. Jesus. The chalet is a little gloomy and rustic in places, with some interesting features in the downstairs bedrooms, such as an ornate clock built into the wall, a bricked-up fireplace, a slate-floored corridor with a medieval-looking slate trap door, etc. Wonder what they need a slate trap door for. I don't know. All things that point to it simply being pretty old and a little quirky. We're 3 months into the season and had pretty much forgotten about this supposed haunting, having not heard anything from our guests until yesterday. I was standing around with our guests waiting for their airport transfer to arrive when one guy asks how old the chalet is. Having no idea, I said that as they were leaving today, I didn't mind telling him that the place is supposedly haunted. And before I could snicker and roll my eyes, the other guest in the hallway gasped and started telling me that Gaz, who was staying in the bedroom upstairs, saw someone standing over Natalie's bed in the middle of the night. He'd pulled out his phone light to see who it was, and when he shone it into the room, there was nothing there. The bedroom upstairs has 4 simple beds, and 4 of them staying up there had spent the morning investigating the angles and mirrors in the room, trying to see if anything could have tricked him. They had all concluded that from where he was lying, there was an uninterrupted view of Natalie's bed and no mirrors in sight.
Wow.
So 3 separate incidents of this being reported, but the third from a different perspective. And having just written that, I just realized that Natalie, sleeping below the figure's gaze, would have been oblivious to its presence had Gaz not woken up and seen it. How frequently does this happen? My boyfriend and I live on the floor above this room. About 4 weeks ago, my boyfriend asked me if I'd ever heard anything weird at around 4 a.m., as he'd heard something go up the stairs to our staff area, wide carpeted slat-like stairs which layout-wise are directly behind the head of our bed. He heard someone padding around outside our bedroom door, then quickly head back down the stairs to the first level, and finally down the distinctively creaky wooden stairs to the ground level. This creeped me out. How are we doing on time? Oh my God, I'm never going to make it. This creeped me out as no other staff were staying upstairs. Driver had quit the job. However, we just had our last change of guests. 3 families with 5 excitable under 11s with them. So we began to convince ourselves that this was the first night. This was the first night. It's possible that one of the kids got confused in the night, though this is quite a stretch. So, how far can I make it? Maybe another paragraph. I'm sorry, we're heading up to break. I should have looked at how much time was left, but my mind's not on the clock tonight. So
You asked me to do it. I'm sorry.
That's all right. You're typing. A week later, I don't know if I should keep reading this paragraph. A week later, the guests had left, and the first night the chalet was completely empty besides us. My boyfriend wakes me up at 4 a.m. with the words, "Can you hear that?" And I could. The sound of a small, fast feet moving, like a child's on the stairs right behind our heads. We heard it go down the stairs and disappear. And at this point, my boyfriend had stood up to go out our locked door, and instead I convinced him to shut the window to quiet the sound of the river so that we could hear anything else. He was sure there was someone in the chalet, having walked in on a burglar himself, but through that extremely thin wall behind our heads, it hadn't sounded like an adult intent on robbing the chalet.
We're going to finish it when we get back.
Yeah, we're going to have to finish it when we get back. So we'll continue on the story, ladies and gentlemen, when we get back. So don't go away.
And for those of you on YouTube, hold on. We'll be right back.
We'll do the break scene on YouTube, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be right back for more Paranormal Portal.
Woohoo!
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the second half hour of the Paranormal Portal.
Now, yeah, second half hour, yeah. Gosh.
Yeah.
I was like, where are we?
Just waiting for the intro music to go through on the radio, and there we are. We're back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Brent Thomas, and this is Don Longbeard next to me. And we are continuing the Paranormal Portal journey here on this fine Saturday evening. And this is live. This is live and unrehearsed. So what you're seeing is the best we can do. And hope you're enjoying it. I am. I think it's going good, right?
Yeah, I think it's going great. I'm amazed, just watching both screens and just amazed at how well we're doing.
Exactly. I am as well. And thank you guys for being here and being a part of the journey with us as we go through this and try to figure out just what the hell it is we're doing. I'd love to say we had this dynamic plan about the portal and just knew what the hell we were doing, but we don't. And we have a vision. We have a strong vision.
That's right. We
of
have
the portal.
We have a dream.
We have a dream, and we're chasing that dream, but it doesn't always work out the way that you
Sometimes
you dream.
it runs faster than you.
Yeah, you got to catch up to them sometimes,
Yeah.
right? So I gotta
that's why you got to say you got to catch your dreams.
catch your dreams, ladies and gentlemen, and we encourage it here on the portal as we are running to catch ours. So let me turn back on the cool spookiness. That was a terrible mix, by the way, on the commercial break on YouTube. I just kind of just killed it. I should have faded it. Sorry, guys. I'm learning. I'm getting it.
No, that's okay.
We're just moving through the night. There's the spookiness. Cool. You guys hear that? I hope you like it. Hope you're enjoying it. And we will continue. Now, we're going through a story currently about a couple that's over in France working at an old chalet. And they're hearing footsteps. And there's people that have stayed as guests at the chalet. And they've experienced people standing at the foot of their bed and then walking through walls and stuff. So they're staying there alone right now. There's no guests in the chalet, but they're working there. But they're staying there. And they're hearing someone walking around outside of their door like a child's fast patter of feet. And on the stairs behind their headboard on the other side of the wall. So we're going to pick it up there and see exactly what happens. A week later, the guests had left, and the first night the chalet was completely empty besides us. Wait. No, I already read that paragraph. Sorry.
You need a bookmark.
Note to self. Gotta get a Sharpie to mark the monitor. Ooh, start here.
And just don't do
So
the
anyway,
whiteout thing.
Yeah, whiteout. That's yeah. Anyway, weirdest next few hours of sleep, waking up, talking. He became convinced it was someone in the apartment with that was sandwiched below our staff area and the ground floor guest rooms, which I allowed him to believe until the sweet light of the morning when I told him that the shutters had been shut and still were for well over a week and no cars had been in the spaces. Still have no idea what we heard. I know what it sounded like, and that we both heard it, unmistakably. Though we tried to kid ourselves, something was there.
Wow.
And that was actually the end of the story, so I should have read faster and just gotten through it. But, I'm just learning this balancing act. We're doing multi-streams here, and we're apparently doing it okay. So I'm really pumped. Really excited about all this, ladies and gentlemen. So
Wow, yeah.
I hope you're sharing my excitement.
Who's Sharon?
Sharing.
Oh, Sharing. Sharing.
Yeah.
Sharinga.
I don't put hard G's at the end of words.
Hodges.
Sharing.
Oh, jeez.
The next one is constant sounds that everyone heard. My parents bought an old house with the intent of renovating it. They did, and it's fabulous. Before it was renovated, my dad and I stayed there for a while. I gotta watch that volume on this backup noise. Doors would open and shut completely while we stood there chatting and watching. Now I understand a door swinging open and shut one way, especially if there was an open window or the floors are warped, etc., but this wasn't the case. We'd just be sitting there chatting away and kind of slowly trail off in conversation, watching as the door went click and swung open. There then swung quietly shut and click closed. Wow. Didn't stop us from staying and sleeping there, though. After it was renovated, there would be creepy sounds. Sounds like the cutlery in the kitchen sink being moved around. I understand that might be noises from the pipes, so I'm going to discount that, but it's creepy as all hell. to be sitting there reading a book and hear clink, scrape right behind you in the sink. And, of course, when you go to the sink and look in, you're pretty sure the fork has been moved around from one side to another, but you won't trust your memory. And then there were sounds like somebody walking across the floor. Dad and I were sitting downstairs talking. The TV was on mute during a commercial, and we heard a sound like someone would run across the floor directly above us. We kind of looked up and looked at each other and laughed. We know the house is locked. There's no animals. It's not the sound of the house settling or the ventilation. And then it was that time that I was home alone, and it was about 12:30 a.m., and suddenly right above my head, it says a head, right above my head upstairs was the sound of heavy men's boots stomping across the floor and stomping to the head of the stairs, which literally a few feet from where I was sitting. I froze in terror. I'm alone there. It's late at night, and I'm convinced someone has somehow broken into the house and is standing there in darkness at the top of the stairs waiting for me to make my move. There wouldn't be time enough for me to make a break for the back door. What would I do? So what did I do? Reached for the phone and called my mommy like the scaredy cat that I am. And while she was on the phone with me, I checked their house from top to bottom. Everything was locked. Nobody was there. My mom mocked me and hung up.
That's a loving mom.
Wow. Remember we were talking about fostering that gift in kids? This is opposite
That
of
is
that.
not the way to do it. That's freaking hilarious.
Yeah. So
Called my mommy.
I did not sleep well that night is
No.
the last sentence. So there you have it, folks. I have one more in this chain of stories to go, and it looks like it's a 2-pager.
Wow.
Or it's just split onto 2 pages, as the case may be, but let's have a look and see what it is. It starts out sad, though. My God. My dad died when I was 2, so needless to say, I don't know anything about him, aside from the generic, your father was a great man. Well, one night, I fell asleep like any other night, and it brings tears to my eyes every time I tell this story. Anyway, I fall asleep and I have this dream that I talk to him, but I don't remember what it was about. I remember crying a lot and that he was sitting on a chair that he pulled up right in front of my bed. I wake up the next morning with a vague recollection of what had happened, and my eyes were puffy and red, like they had been crying, and then there it was, a chair positioned towards me, not 1 foot away from my bed, in the same spot I remember him sitting in. Mind you, the chair was originally on the other side of the room, pushed into my desk. I'm not much for superstitions and ghosts, but I like to think that he visited me that night. And I think that that's probably a pretty good presumption to make, really.
Yeah, I think that's pretty safe to say.
I guess that was the whole story. It's just the next page is just, oh God, these ads are terrible. They're whole page ads. They take over everything. That's just obnoxious. So, that's my list of stories to start out with. Don, what do you got, brother?
Oh gosh, yeah.
And,
all right.
Ladies and gentlemen, Don.
Hey, how are you tonight? Hope everybody's doing well. I just admitted to drinking water. And this is what I mostly drink.
Huh?
Well, okay, it's hot water.
What are you talking about?
Okay, it's hot water filtered through a coffee filter with coffee. Okay, I drink coffee.
I don't understand what the hell that was all
That's
about.
because you're not in the chat room.
Okay. So anyway, what did you have to read?
Oh, yeah, life-saving ghost. Here we go. So it says, my ex, my 2 kids, and myself lived in this house that continuously had strange things happening in it. Faucets would turn on, footsteps, weird sensations, occasionally black, misty apparitions. Anyway, I never felt threatened by whatever it was, and after this happened, I could only be thankful that he was there because I saw him a couple times. Okay. My kids' rooms were upstairs, and there was also a TV room up there. In this room, it was a solid oak cabinet that I used for various storage. Big mistake. On the upper shelves, I kept games that I didn't want the kids to get into. But of course, my stubborn daughter, about 5 at the time, decided to climb up the cupboard, and it started falling. Now, this took 3 men to move, so if it had fallen on her, she would have been crushed. My son was standing there watching. He was 7, and he swore that this is what happened. A small rocking chair came flying out of my daughter's room, turned the corner, and caught the cabinet just right so that my baby didn't get hurt at all. She missed the chair, missed the hardwood floor, landed on the carpet, and the cabinet didn't touch her. By the time I got upstairs, it was all over, but my son, who isn't prone to telling big ones, swears that that's what happened. It gives me the chills every time I think about it. Thank goodness our friend was there.
Wow.
So there you go, yeah. Definitely a friend to have around, huh? That's one of those ones that are, come on in. It's okay. Come on in. You can stay. Just be quiet. Well, okay. Yeah.
Everybody needs
interesting.
those kind of friends.
Definitely. Ooh. How about a poltergeist story?
Oh, those are always good.
Let's see. Oh, this one's kind of long, though.
That's all right. We
That's
got
okay.
time.
We got time. Time. Okay, sorry. So this one's a poltergeist story. Says my husband and I bought our third house in August. It was built in 1908. It was a huge house with 2 full stories, a full basement, and a 12-foot-long mantel, built-in bookshelves, built-in china hutch, built-in pocket doors. That's the only way you can do pocket doors. And a living room, huge enough to dwarf a grand piano. I loved all the great old woodwork and the house. From the beginning, I felt something strange. I always picked the houses and used the way they felt as one of the deciding factors. This house felt different than the others, usually warm memory type house that we had bought before. I let my love of old architecture cloud my feelings, and we bought it anyhow. We started by painting everything as it was a rental and it was filthy. Then I wallpapered and removed the old ugly gold long shag carpet. Good choice. I was getting ready for Thanksgiving. Our huge house could accommodate all of our relatives, 65, with loads of room to spare. I have 3 children, then ages 12, 8, and 7, and they were at school. I would get most of my work done on the house, and when they were at school, I would get most of my work done in the house. But it was also when I noticed an uneasy feeling that I was not alone. I would catch glimpses out of the corner of my eye that someone was moving inside the house. I constantly jerked to see what it was, half expecting one of the kids to be there, even though they were at school. There were also feelings of someone either watching you from behind or being behind you. I started at first half-consciously sitting with my back towards the walls and corners, never towards the open space. Then I was doing it consciously, keeping an eye open all the time, and feeling like a big baby, not wanting to stay in the house alone. Thanksgiving was a big success, and I was getting excited about Christmas. I was planting a huge tree for the first time. I started buying decorations and purchased an extension cord for the lights. I put the new cord on a huge island in the kitchen after putting away the groceries, and hurried out the door to pick up the kids at school. We all returned about 20 minutes later. After we got all the backpacks and coats taken care of, I headed for the extension cord. Gone. I looked and rethought and looked and started retracing my thoughts. No, I had left it there. My first thought was that those damn kids. I called them all to the kitchen and asked and yelled and screamed, denying the whole time that any of them had taken it. I started tearing the entire house apart. I wasn't going to put up with lying. 4 hours later, and the entire house in a wreck, no extension cord. I searched every nook. I ran to the store and bought another. That night, Mike and I stayed up late to hear the news and had just turned off the TV. We heard loud noises coming from outside, teenagers loafing around on the street, flirting with each other. After about 5 minutes of laughing and teasing, Mike finally got out of bed and yelled at them to go home. Got back in bed, twisted and turned a couple of times, and then quieted down. Out of total quiet, a woman's voice from the foot of our bed said about 2 sentences calmly in what sounded like French. We were both still awake. I was so scared I couldn't move. I was afraid to look. We both sleep on our stomachs, and we would have had to turn over to look at the foot of the bed. Not even saying a whisper for what seemed like the longest time, I finally whispered to Mike, "Did you hear that?" He whispered back, "Yup." Then a shiver ran down my spine, and again I asked, "A woman's voice?" He said, "Yep." I said, oh, crap, and turned over very quickly, looked at the foot of the bed. Nothing. I expected to find maybe a woman standing in our room, but nothing. Then Mike told me he'd heard it the night before while downstairs late watching TV. He was afraid to tell me, partly because he thought he might have imagined it, and partly that my 260-pound football-looking construction worker and husband was afraid, and I might think he was nuts. That's when I got a little worried. He was as stable as anyone I could think of. What in the world did he hear? A ghost? Starting to listen. I started listening and watching my back even more. Couldn't sleep for 2 days. Nothing happened. A week passed with nothing. Just when I was starting to feel better on a Wednesday night at about 12:30 a.m., we were startled awake by what sounded like those pocket doors downstairs, which must have weighed about 500 pounds, being slammed together 3 times. The window in our bedroom rattled along with the pictures on the wall. I immediately assumed that someone was in the house. I told Mike to shut the door at the top of the stairs and hold it shut. I ran for the closet to get the rifle and started shoving bullets in the gun as fast as I could. Went to the stairway door where Mike was still holding the door, loaded gun in hand, leaned on the door and had Mike check on the kids. They were all in their beds, amazingly still asleep. Then huddled together, we opened the door and crept down the stairs. Me first, with the gun aimed in front of us. Well, thank God.
Yeah, no kidding.
Nothing anywhere, except the dog was locked in the basement. First of many times for that. All the deadbolts were still locked. We looked in every cupboard, every niche. Nothing. Kind of relieved, we went back to bed and barely slept. Then something happened. The pictures were still askew.
Ooh.
On edge for about a week, I again calmed about the incident. I went to the basement to do laundry. The kids were at school. One switch turns on 3 lights, one in each of the 3 rooms that you just walk through to get to the laundry room. I always hated that basement. I walked through the first room until I was past the light bulb when it just exploded for some reason.
Ooh.
I hurried to the next room instead of going back, and the second bulb burst. I was really scared then and ran into the last room, the laundry room, and the bulb burst in there too.
Ooh.
Shaking so bad my knees were about to buckle, I didn't know what to do. I was afraid to go back through those dark rooms to get to the stairs. At least the laundry room had a small window and some light crept in there. I finally started yelling at thin air. It was my house no matter what, and I wasn't leaving. I told it we had every penny of our money in that house, and it was my home. Then I tried not to act scared while yelling and ran for the stairs. I could feel it behind me breathing down my neck and feeling like it would grab me from behind at any minute. I ran up the stairs, grabbed my purse, ran out the house shaking uncontrollably. The other times I was scared but did not feel like I was in any real harm, but that time I felt like I was going to be harmed. I was afraid to go into the basement alone after that and didn't. About a week passed and nothing. At this time, Mike and I were both feeling uneasy about staying in the house alone, especially at night, and we found a lot of excuses to all go out together. We were all at dinner when we came in. The dog was locked in the basement again, which happened a lot again, and was whining at us. So I went to the kitchen to get her a snack. There on the kitchen island, right where I had laid it weeks earlier, still wrapped, was the extension cord. Nothing on the island but the cord. I was getting tired of the up and down emotions involved with living with a ghost. This didn't seem to upset me as much. I might have been getting used to it, but I wasn't ready for what happened next. My daughter, who was one of the quietest, sweetest girls I had ever known to this day, also had a stubborn streak. Go figure. It was a rare occasion when she had one of these streaks, but was bad when she did. She got up one morning and insisted on wearing this god-awful outfit she had put together. We went around and round until I got a migraine and she was made to stay home or change the outfit. In her mood, she stayed home.
Ooh.
She wins. I went to lay down with the migraine and she was supposed to stay in her room. Before Thanksgiving, I had spent 2 weeks on my hands and knees, hand sanding and refinishing our upstairs hallway, which was about 15 feet long. I was just calming down from the confrontation with my daughter when I heard what only could be described as the sound of a very large piece of furniture on metal wheels being pushed down the hallway. The sound was so distinct that I swear I could hear the crunch of the wood from the hallway under the wheels.
Ooh.
I yelled at her, thinking she was moving furniture all over my hard work and ruining the floor. She at the time yelled at me and asked what I was doing, but she was downstairs. The sound got louder and louder and was echoing through the entire house and was ear-deafening. She was in tears and I was scared witless. I grabbed my purse, I grabbed her, ran out the house, and didn't come home until Mike got off work. That was enough. I was through with the ghost. I made Mike put the house up for sale. It sold in 2 days and we moved in a hurry.
Wow.
There you go.
That was a hell of a journey.
That was. Holy good gosh.
Woo-wee. Wow.
I hope that was a good one because I liked it.
It was. What else you got?
What's next, Don?
Keep going down. You're on a roll.
Uncle Don, keep going. Keep going. It's our favorite story time.
Yeah.
Kitchen ghosts. Kitchen ghosts.
You got another one?
Yeah,
we only
sure.
got about 4.5 minutes. So is it a short
That's
one?
okay. This is a short one. Yeah.
Oh, perfect. Then go ahead, please. Bring us to
so
break.
it's the first of 15 paragraphs.
Ooh, that's
Joking. Says, okay, I finally have something recent to tell about in this group. Last night, I had a house guest. My son's father, Jim, who lives out of state, came to pick up the boy and take him back to his home and spend a couple weeks before school starts. Since it's a 12-hour drive for him back home, he slept in the living room on the couch, and I went to bed in my bedroom. My son slept in his room, and this is what happened. Around 2 a.m., I woke up suddenly. I was just wide awake for no reason. I don't remember any dreams before I woke up. Usually, I wake up suddenly, and I can remember my dreams that I just had. I looked at the doorway to the bedroom, and I saw a clear outline against the kitchen window of someone standing there. I can see the kitchen window from my bed when the door is open, and it is illuminated by the security lights outside. I could even see the pattern on the kitchen floor, but all I could see was the shadow of someone standing there. I didn't say anything at first. I thought maybe Jim was checking up on me or getting a drink of water or something. Then another shadow joined the first, standing there in the doorway, only slightly behind the first one. I could see their feet. So this was not just someone standing outside the window. They were definitely inside. Now I have 2 roommates who are out of town.
Yikes.
Okay, it says I have 2 roommates who are out of town. They're due back today, so I thought maybe it was them, and they came back early. I called their names out, and the shadows just stood there. One shifted back and forth from one foot to the other, like someone shifting their weight impatiently. I was getting kind of scared at this point. Either they were playing a joke on me or someone had broken into the house. I said loudly, "Stop it, you're freaking me out. Turn on the lights." They just stood there. I heard a noise from the living room. Then I called out to Jim to turn on the kitchen light. He said, "Okay." I heard him get up and saw the shadows both turn and go out through the kitchen wall. By the time he got to the kitchen, they were gone. We checked the house. All the doors and windows were locked.
Ooh.
And there you go.
There
Kitchen
you go.
ghosts.
The kitchen ghosts.
You know, I hope they did the dishes before they left.
You know, that's just it. If they're going to be there, they should at least pitch in,
Yeah,
you know.
come on.
I like the ones that are like looking out for people, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
I think I read a story last night of a ghost that grabbed some guy that was trying to take advantage of this woman.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
He had like
Threw him across the room.
blistered,
Yeah.
you know, handprints on his shoulders
That
where
was
it
a
like
good
burned
story.
him. And then the girl was all distraught, and the whole night she felt like
A maternal presence.
was there just
Yeah.
calming her. It's like, yes, you know, that's just it. If you're gonna have one around, have one that like, you know,
A comforting something.
well, that it's like, I don't know, just takes care of something other than moving your crap around, you know.
Yeah, no doubt.
It's like, okay, you got one job. Your job is to not move my stuff and to look after the place. I mean, you know.
Yeah, no
I don't
doubt.
know.
Yeah.
But ladies and gentlemen, this is the Paranormal Portal, and we are simulcast streaming on YouTube at the same time, and so far
Oh my, we're doing great.
it's just going brilliantly, and I'm just thrilled. And this was what I was hoping for the show about 8-10 months ago. Well, we're finally there. I mean, it wasn't the the most timely arrival into stable broadcasting, but I think we're finally there.
Yeah, the picture looks great on YouTube. It sounds
Yeah.
good on TFR. We're doing well.
I'm just feeling just elated right now. It's just like,
Shh, don't let it go to hell.
no, I think we're good. I think,
I think we're solid because that picture's great.
Yep.
I know we're coming through TFR just wonderful.
Absolutely. So if you
wow.
want to see Don and I doing this magic that we do, please check us out on YouTube. Go to youtube.com/paranormal portal and you'll see the live stream going on right now there, and you can see us in the Paranormal Portal studio doing our thing. Don, you're absolutely hidden behind a microphone. You know that, right?
I can go this way, but then you hear me breathing into the microphone.
Oh, yeah. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back. Don't go away. We'll be doing the second hour of the show. We'll be right back in just a couple minutes. Stay tuned. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the second hour of the Paranormal Portal. Right here live on TFRlive.com and on iHeartRadio and on TuneIn, wherever you happen to be, and on YouTube currently. So I guess we're kind of starting to spread our influence, eh, Don?
Yes.
So,
Like an evil virus.
like an evil rash, we're spreading. Get the ointment, get the ointment. But anyway, I guess of all rashes, we're not too bad. Not too bad. Hope you guys are enjoying the show. Hope you guys are enjoying the simulcast, the broadcast. And if you're out there hearing the sound of our voice, we are broadcasting live on YouTube, as I said, and you can find us by going to youtube.com/paranormalportal. And you can see us live doing what we're doing right here in the Paranormal Portal studios. And to those of you that are already checking it out, thank you so much. Please like and subscribe.
Yes.
Subscribe to the channel, please.
And like
Check-
all of the videos, not just this one.
Well, yeah.
Like everything.
Like them all. Like everything. Watch them all.
Like Don's beard.
We'll have a ceremony for Don's beard in remembrance. Maybe we'll dedicate the show to Don's beard
Oh, there you
in
go.
remembrance of
Let
the
me-
long beard.
Let me see if I can find a story to go along with that.
Yeah, I'll bet.
The ghost with the long beard.
Yeah, long-bearded ghost stories. There's just a beard out there running around. It's a ghostly beard.
There was this movie back in the 70s called The Hand.
Jeez, yeah.
It was-
wasn't like a thing from the Addams Family kind of thing.
Well,
Just ran around.
yeah. Well, what happened was this guy lost it. He was like hanging out the window of a car going down the way, and a truck came by and slashed it off, and it goes flying off into the. So he's got no hand, and so the whole premise of the movie is the hand searching for him.
Oh,
Yeah,
Nice.
It was kind of crazy. It was a cheap B flick, but it was funny.
some of the greatest movies were cheap B flicks.
That's true.
You know, I mean, it's kind of what spawned the whole horror genre was cheap B films.
Oh, somebody says they remember that movie. That's awesome. So I'm not alone.
Well,
That's
not
awesome.
not in that at
Not
least.
in that. Yeah. Someone actually can. Someone knows my references.
So I know your references. I remember a lot of those old B movies, and there was probably more out there than.
Oh my God, yeah.
I mean, every time you turn around, there was some kind of horror matinee, triple headers,
And
and
they're absolutely just horrible.
the beast that ate my socks, and all kinds of weird things, whatever they could dream up. And they were, I mean, it was about on the same sci-fi budget as Star Trek,
As my first Super 8.
Yeah. I mean, if you watch those, even like you okay?
Yeah, everything's good.
What happened?
I'm just playing with the table.
How'd that work out?
And it didn't work.
Okay. And we're having a learning curve here at the same time, ladies and gentlemen. So tonight is just a night of epic transformation here on the portal. Don knows you can't mess with the table. We know we can stream live on YouTube and broadcast on TFR Live and iHeart and TuneIn. And actually, everything seems to be working. First hour's under our belt. I'm knocking on wood.
Yep.
But I'm feeling good about it. So, but I don't even remember. Oh, I was going to say that old Flash Gordon movie, Flash.
Oh, yeah.
And I think even not even the original, the remake that was done in the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
No, 70s.
The one,
Yeah.
the one with the Queen theme. They did the
Yes,
Queen theme.
yes.
Yeah.
And the music was outstanding.
Well, that's because it was Queen.
It was, yeah. I mean, Freddie Mercury. God, you could have him sing cereal commercials, and you'd want to, go platinum. I mean, the guy was just brilliant as far as a lyricist and vocalist, and he was bar none an amazing talent. But the rest of the movie absolutely sucked. But I still loved it because I was a young kid, and it was prior. Wasn't it just prior to the original Star Wars release? It was like
right
mid
around
70s, and original
Yeah.
Star Wars was 77.
77, 78, yeah.
Yeah. So it
77,
was
yeah.
like George Lucas came along and just spanked everything that had ever come before it. And I don't know how you feel about the new movie that's out there. I understand there's lots of people pleading with George Lucas for Disney to take it back.
Take it back.
And I've not seen it, so I don't know. But I hope to see it. I would love to have the chance to see it in the theaters in 3D, but I don't know if that's going to happen.
That'd be awesome.
I don't
That's a
know.
40-minute drive, though.
Why?
Well, and we'd have to drive into the big town south of us
Why? For what?
because they're not going to play that here in our little county.
Yeah, they do. They got
3D?
they got 3D. Yeah.
Oh gosh.
I've wanted to say
Okay.
every 3D movie I've seen recently has been at the Ponderay Cinema.
You
out
know,
here.
now that I think about it, no, I think that was in the dollar or the $2 theater down in Hayden.
Okay. Well, no, I'm just telling you, it happens.
Crazy.
It happens here in this, and actually they redid the seats in there, and it's really epic.
Really?
Before you'd sit in there and you'd almost be on the floor. You'd sit down and be like, whoa. You know? There was no catch on it. You just went back.
Don't lean back.
So you're looking down your chin to try to see the movie because you're like leaning way too far back.
Why are my feet in the picture?
Yeah. Wow, that is 3D. Those look like my socks. Oh, that is my socks. Yeah, sorry, but anyway, this isn't the Paranormal Portal movie review. Although we do like movies.
Paranormal pantaloons.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I've had a few of those. But anyway, that's another story, ladies and gentlemen, for another show, I'm sure. So here we are. We're going through stories of paranormal goodness and mayhem, and we love those kind of stories. And I found this page that's got like, I swear to God, like 7-point font.
Wow,
Look at this.
That's tiny.
I mean,
You're
are
gonna
you
have to zoom that
serious?
in, yeah.
Yeah.
Gosh, that's-
How do you zoom? I don't even know.
you go and do this. Oh, so go to your three dots in your upper right,
Yeah.
and then it'll give you a zoom. Yeah, right there, zoom.
Zoom.
Go up and
Does
down.
it do like every page or just this page?
Just this one. It'll just
Okay.
do this one.
Just go up.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, look at that.
Wow, look at
Hey,
that.
it's
Hey, look, I don't
12
have to use my
points.
glasses now.
Hey, it's 24 points.
Oh my god,
I
I don't think you need it at 72.
I'm liking it though. I'm good with it. I'm good with 72-point font. So, all right, let me just read this for you guys. Now this, I don't know what the hell this is. Shortscarystories.com, and these are supposed to be true paranormal stories. And the first sentence of the story is, "This is a true story." So, with a disclaimer like that, it's on the internet.
It's on
it
the
says
gotta
it's
be
true.
It's gotta be
So,
true.
ladies and gentlemen, this is a true story as far as we know. So, here we go. I have a few paranormal visitations in the past, but none as profound as the night of, and they do numbers for the date, which would be January 20th, 2010.
That would actually be today.
It is.
For
wow.
us, yeah.
This is like 8 years ago to the date.
Wow, nice.
Ooh-wee. Cue the spooky music. No, I mean just in your head.
Oh,
Okay. So I was 22 years old. I was supposed to be in Washington, D.C. that night watching the inauguration live from the lawn of the White House. Which inauguration? Oh, that'd been President
That'd be
Obama. Yeah. My mother had come down with a sudden sickness, so I stayed home and watched the historical events on the TV, cuddles up in warm blankets and sipping tea. At exactly 6 a.m., I was awoken. For some reason, I looked at the clock. Awoken by what? I wasn't sure. Something sinful. It said something sinful. I'm not sure what that means.
all right.
Not sure that's appropriate for the show, but let's continue. I felt a presence. Someone was there. Ridiculous, I thought. I should try to sleep. Why was I wide awake? I thought, it's 6 a.m. I am usually in deep sleep. I couldn't shake the thought of someone watching me. I just felt something touch my leg. Still in denial, I wondered if I was half sleeping. I reached out and pinched myself. Nope, I was awake. I had a deep fear of dread.
Nice. I'm
I
scared
think
of dread.
I think we all fear dread, but I'm not sure that that's what they're trying to say. But
the law.
Judge Dredd, yeah. No, I don't.
Sorry.
Anyway, the temperature had dropped. Something in me had been preparing for this long ago. I looked over and I saw him sitting on my bed and smiling at me.
Oh.
Or it. It had a face of an intelligent young man, but his body was green and a bunch of entangled vines.
Wow.
That's the best that I can describe it. He had no limbs, no neck to separate his body from his head. There was a saucer with multicolors, like the rings of Saturn. What the hell? From his head, what? To separate his body from his head, there was a saucer with multicolors. Okay, I'm sorry, I read that terribly. Or it's written terribly, one of the two. Maybe both. Like the rings of Saturn, I look at him and he was smiling at me wildly. For the last time, I felt myself trying to reassure myself that this was a dream. But it wasn't. It was real, and it was there with me. I had lost all feeling out of emotional shock. I thought to myself that I should pray. I still couldn't move or think. I looked up again. It moved closer to me. Well, that helps. Finally was able to snap out of it and think, what do question mark? My bed sheets moved away from me. Curiosity got the best of me. Was it trying to possess me? Rape me? What does it want? I knew it was evil, so by asking would only add to its joy. I came to my senses quick, but I was incapable of moving. So I prayed. At first it was telling it mostly cuss words, telling the entity that I was with God and that I was disgusted by it, that it needed to leave. I prayed the St. Michael's prayer and Our Father, and even chanted the Aum. Aum. I looked over again. It was grimacing. I again dared to ask what it wanted. It laughed. Why me? Why did these things happen to me? I tried to force it to leave. I spat at it. I shook. I think I shook, but it's S-H-O-K-E. I felt like I was suffocating. I told it that it would not pass into my soul. It was not a shadow person. I had encountered them before. I felt it was a minion of the devil. Finally, I was completely overtaken with fear, so strong I can only imagine people feel before sudden deaths. I told it that I am with the Lord and it couldn't have me. It lifted me. I prayed. I was adamant and sincere with my prayer, and it was gone. What was that about? It was over, or so I thought. There was silence. Then I heard voices. Not English, but some sort of ancient language. Aramaic? I don't know. I wasn't listening, so I was so shaken up. I heard my name. What? Oh God, what is happening? Remiel, or I don't know how you say it, R-E-M-I-A-L. They were saying Remiel or Remy. My first name is very similar to that. No, Remiel. Who is Remiel? I couldn't keep up with the gibberish. There was singing. I passed out, still shaken up. I later found out that Remiel is the Archangel of Hope. Did he step in? I regret not listening. To this day, I have no idea what that was about. If you have any idea, please let me know. I don't have any idea.
I have no clue.
Yeah, so that's that story, ladies and gentlemen. It's always an adventure here on the portal. Is that the whole thing? Was there more? I don't understand here.
Okay, here's
What?
the thing.
What?
It's Uriel. It's Auriel, the Archangel of Hope.
That's Auriel. Yeah.
Right, but it's from Diablo 3.
What?
Yeah, it's from Diablo 3 right here.
Auriel?
Yep.
Well, now I got to get my angel books. You got a story?
Yeah, I got a story I can cover. Yeah, let's
Go ahead.
do
I'm
this.
gonna get this and look it up.
Yeah, he's
in
actually
my
going to look it up in one of his
compendium of angels.
compendium. He's good like that. All right, so this one is called Cold Chills. While he looks that up.
I think I'm gonna destroy everything first.
Oh, that's all right if you do.
No, it's not. It's my stuff, Don.
All right, fine. I have no emotional attachment to anything
Ooh, that hurts.
but the show.
Ooh, that was nice. Good save.
It says, I'm not much of a believer in shadow people. In fact, my house has only been occupied by one couple before me. In the last 10 years, my elderly father and I have enjoyed the comforts of this modern home with no ill effect. It was only until recently that I began to feel funny about my own home. Not that anything was overt. The first experience came about 3 weeks ago. This is when I thought my dad came through the garage door into my home and walked into the living room, heading to the computer room. Even my dogs jumped off the bed to greet him, or so I thought. I continued brushing my hair in the bathroom and came out to speak to him, but he was nowhere to be found. I explained that way as wishful thinking, as my dogs actually jumped down from the bed and all three headed to greet whomever it was. Then, from time to time, I would see something quickly out of the corner of my eye, and I would feel someone touch me while I was in bed. In fact, the someone felt like a cold dog nose or animal nose. I thought it was one of my dogs trying to get my attention to go out. So sure of this, I went to reach down and to one of them, and all three were on my bed. Then what nose touched me from the bedside, if all three were on the opposite side sleeping. Later in the kitchen, I would experience things popping or items falling from a position that would be impossible for them to fall. I kept all of this to myself because I began to think that I was crazy or something. However, suddenly my dad kept insisting on going to Catholic Mass. This was unusual, but I shrugged it off. One afternoon, while he was waiting for me to bring the dogs home, he said he closed his eyes for 1 second. When he opened them, something small the size of a bear cub. A bear cub small? Dark and shadowy glided past him and headed towards the computer room. When I came home, he didn't mention it to me because he didn't want to scare me. I left for the evening and came back later. He had an experience and didn't tell me about it until a week later. When he left that night, I went to the computer room and felt cold chills, but there was no way air current could be reaching me. I thought I left the window open. Finally, that Saturday, I told him about the door incident, and he explained about the shadow he saw. In fact, he told me that one of the dogs looked over his shoulders and kept following some figure growling heavily. Needless to say, we went out, got holy water. We haven't had a problem in the home since. But the saddest note of all this all started when my sister took sick and we didn't know about her illness. She may pass away this weekend. I wonder if the shadow has anything to do with that. Weird.
Wow.
Wow, yeah.
I can't find my book. I cleaned the whole studio, and
dang,
I
yeah.
cleaned it so well I can't find anything.
Yeah, that's
so.
that organized chaos stuff. Once you unorganize the chaos, it's no longer there.
Absolutely. I don't know.
Oh, that kind of sucks.
It does. It truly does, and I'm sorry, but I will find that. I'm not sure. I don't know what to tell you, but I'm gonna keep trying to find some great stuff to read. This is supposed to be a link. Why isn't it launching?
Is it .co?
No, it's short, scary stories. Share the dark side, but these are supposed to be the true stories. But I guess they're really short because it says, "Oh, I guess I should click read more."
Oh,
That might help. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here all day.
and that's why you zoomed in on it so you could read it.
Yeah. Well, that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
What are you
Well,
going for here, Don? What are you trying to say?
I'm saying there's a ghost in the library.
There is, and that's my story right now. I will find that book. I don't know where I put it. I have a dictionary of ghosts or angels rather, including the fallen ones. But
Who is this? Undaunted. Always go for Undaunted. Names of the archangels.
oh yeah,
So I'll have to look into that.
yeah. Look into that while
yeah.
I'm reading. But yeah, Dawn's a font of all kinds of information. She's pretty fascinating person. She's like the Google of the Paranormal
No
Portal chat
kidding.
room.
Yeah, she's our researcher, our legitimate researcher there. Thanks, Dawn.
What are you, illegitimate?
Well, I'm just kind of half and half.
You're an illegitimate researcher. All right. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, the fun continues here on the portal. We're at about 6 minutes, so I don't think I should start this story. It looks rather long, Don. I'm going to have to read it at the... Not unlike your beard, usually. But, yeah, I'm not going to have a chance to get through this. I'll have to pick this one up after the break. So I'm going to go ahead to... Not this one, but this one. This is called, I Saw One Walk Through My Kitchen and Didn't Take It Too Seriously. And this is from thoughtcatalog.com, Eerie Otherworldly Encounters with Shadow People, ladies and gentlemen. And this is about shadow people. So I saw one walk through my kitchen and didn't take it too seriously. I was freaked out, but reasoned it away. I thought I was seeing things and kind of forgot about it. A month later, my friend visiting also saw it and described it to me exactly in the same place in my kitchen. Same height, body shape. It really freaked us out. A few other house guests saw him over the course of my stay in that apartment, in which many other inexplicable things happened, but he generally seemed to not see us or care. Craziness. Now, I would like to say that a lot of people assume that any kind of spirit they see that is dark in appearance must be a shadow person, and that really is not true. There are, many accounts of spirits appearing dark because they don't want to be seen. They would like to be more conspicuous. Now, why they don't just be invisible, I don't know. I don't know how this works, but I know that I've heard from mediums, and I think Deb has also echoed this. Deb Varner, our local paranormal portal psychic. She's stated many times that sometimes spirits just appear dark because they just try to be inconspicuous or not. You know, it doesn't mean that they're dark. It doesn't mean that they're evil. So we get that whole, you know, from the old cowboy movies, the white hat and the black hat. You know, it's like, oh, the good guy has the white hat.
Yeah, it's the
And
perception.
the guy in all black, he's got to be bad. Well, no, that's just, it's an old outdated theory that, you know, that somehow a color resonates what the truth of it is. But no, that's not true at all. Now, there are truly shadow people out there, and there are truly some real vicious accounts of these dark entities. I've heard of some good stories, good accounts of shadow people too, and I don't know what to believe about them. I guess they're kind of an anomaly, but they are a real paranormal phenomenon in and of themselves. But just because you see a dark spirit does not mean you're seeing a shadow person. Now, if you get the crappy feeling in the pit of your stomach and you feel this primal fear, then you might be seeing a shadow person, you know, because fear is what they feed on. They like to instill fear, much like a demon. And I'll be doing more videos on YouTube about this kind of stuff and try to lay out some general knowledge so that people have a knowledge base of some kind, because there's a lot of knowledge out on the internet, and a lot of it is really flaky, a lot of it is really bad, and a lot of it is just
Ignorance.
Thank you. And so, but I would like to be on record saying that in this case, this person saw a dark shadow in their house, in their apartment, whatever. Never had any problems with it. It didn't seem to care about him too much. So I'm betting it wasn't a shadow person per se. It was just an entity that appeared dark to him and to others, because maybe it chose to. Maybe it didn't want to be seen. I don't know. But anyway, we'll have to have Deb talk about that more with Deb has come in contact with a couple of negative ones she's stating in the
chat.
In the
TFR
chat, yeah. In the TFR room. TFRlive.com/chat. And Deb, our psychic, is in there currently. She loves to listen to the show, which I love her for dearly. And I love everyone else in there that's listening. There's tons of people. Well, not tons, but there's a good couple handfuls of people in the TFR live chat room. Yep. How many people are in the?
Yeah, you know what? We've got 7 watching. That's fluctuated up and down from 7 to 10 now in YouTube.
In YouTube, so.
But we've still got our hardcore chatters in there.
Absolutely. So, and like I said, we didn't broadcast that we were going to be simulcasting on YouTube. I didn't put it out there because I hadn't done it before with this new setup, and I certainly didn't want to spread the news and create a bunch of fanfare and then have it go down flaming ruins,
Hey, anybody who is friends on our Facebook page, don't tell them that I did.
Oh, you did prior to this?
Yeah.
Prior to the show?
Yeah.
No, I mean like prior to today?
No.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean,
well,
we kind of talked about it by that time, and we decided we were going to give it a shot. So, I mean, I didn't mind that the word was out there, but I certainly didn't, go nuts saying, hey,
gotta catch us. You gotta do it.
Yeah.
Well, you should do it anyhow, but
we will be doing our YouTube broadcast on Wednesday as well. So every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Pacific time, whatever that means for where you are, you can catch us there as well. But we are coming up to the last break of the night, ladies and gentlemen.
Ooh, nice.
Oh,
okay.
man. It goes even quicker now, doesn't it?
Yeah, it is.
We have more to do, so it's like the time is flying even faster here in the studio. So I hope it's been an enjoyable experience thus far for you guys. I know that it's just definitely growing. The numbers are really growing. So is that the music? Am I hearing it?
I'm not hearing it.
No, not yet. Okay.
No.
It's coming up in just a few seconds here, though, so I just wanted to...
Oh, yeah, the break. Jeez! That's what you were just talking about, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm
Welcome
trying to
to the
research.
show, Don.
Well, I'm doing research. I'm doing my due diligence.
I know. I'm just giving you a hard time.
All right.
Because it's in my job description.
Yeah.
It's part of the banter that makes the show fun.
That's true.
All right, ladies and
there
gentlemen,
it
we're
is,
going to go to our last break of the night, and we'll be back for the last half hour of the show. Don't go away, and well see you in just a couple minutes.
Just a couple.
For the Paranormal Portal conclusion. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the last and final half hour of tonight's broadcast here at the Paranormal Portal on TFR Live, on iHeartRadio, on TuneIn, and on YouTube. Oh?
Yeah, I forgot to tell you. Ken sent you an email with possibly a story in it.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, I meant to tell you over the break, and I just remembered. I'm so sorry, Ken.
Look for that.
Well,
yeah.
maybe we'll have to get it another day.
Well, we can always save it for next weekend. Sorry, Ken.
Or for Wednesday. He'll be here on Wednesday.
Well, yeah. But
Oh, yeah, okay.
Depends on the story. It
That's true.
Might be one we want to spread all over the place, not
There we
just
go, yeah.
one station.
Like a bad rash, as you say.
Yeah,
Got some
exactly.
cream for that.
So, lead us in, Mr. Don.
Oh, lead us in. Oh, yes, remember. Yes, definitely that. Hey, by the way, don't forget, our friend Jimmy Jean on Into the Microcosm is coming up right after our show here on TFR. And unfortunately, we can't simulcast him. He'll have to figure that out on his own. But and by the way, Jimmy Jean, thanks for the props in the chat room. Glad to hear that we're coming through and it's looking good. So thank you, bud. That means a lot from one of our family.
Absolutely. So. Yeah, thank you, Jimmy. Another pro out there checking us out, making sure we're staying on task here. It's not in the Paranormal Portal Radio. I'm not sure. Sometimes Ken sends it to our old one. Let me look. Let me look. Ken's got the old email address.
Yeah?
He sometimes still sends them to Paranormal Portal for you.
Well, that's all right.
At gmail.com. It's now, yeah, there it is.
There it is. Sweet.
He did send it.
So we do have it, Ken, but you know what? Because it's so late in the show, we're going to sit on it for this week.
Yeah, we'll pick it up next weekend, brother. Sorry about that. I didn't know it was coming in. I do like to reformat them as well and put them in Word and separate them into. Oh, dude.
Yeah, he said it was a short one.
It is short, but it's full of colorful language. Ken, I'm gonna have to edit this a little bit for content, but there's flying Effenheimers up in there. So let me take a look at it and proofread it, and we'll get it set and ready for the show. Probably next Friday or Saturday night. I'll see what I can put together for you. But thank you for sending that in. And ladies and gentlemen, please feel free to send in your stories to the Paranormal Portal radio at gmail.com if you don't want to call in and be a part of the show. And a lot of people don't. They're a little shy. They're a little nervous about making calls into the radio, and I get it. So, please feel free to email them if you want to hide your identity. That's perfectly fine too. You don't need to feel like you're going to be exposed. It's just that first-hand accounts are always the most powerful.
Yep.
They are your experiences. They are the event through your eyes. They're not 4 or 5 times removed and somebody trying to reconfigure what happened and maybe it's the old game of telephone or whatever they used to call it, where you'd sit in a line and repeat the same story down the line and you end up with a whole different story. So, and I think that happens quite a bit in the paranormal circles where, I heard from this one guy who heard from this friend of his that, blah, blah, blah. And it's, may or may not be a factual account anymore. So I'd rather hear them from you guys.
Yep.
And, quite honestly, when I hear these stories from people that experience them, I learn a hell of a lot more because you may have observed some kind of behavior. You may have made some kind of connection that nobody's made before about what's going on and what your ideas are about it. So, I just love when people put in their interpretation of what they saw as well. But there are no experts in the paranormal. There are no such thing. There are people that have TV shows. There are people that go and do talking circuits, and they will tell you all day long that they are the pros, but there just aren't any experts in the paranormal.
That's not exactly a degree you get.
Right. There's nobody's got a ghost in a cage that they're studying. There's nobody out there on the fields of the Serengeti watching the shadow people migrate. It's just not happening. It's just, this is a phenomenon that occurs when it wants to occur. And it's generally, there's some kind of intelligence behind it, and it's certainly, equal to our own, usually, if not better, and bigger than our own intelligence. So, there's no telling when something's going to happen and what kind of circumstances cause some things to happen and what other things don't. So don't ever think that because somebody gets up on a pedestal and will tell you this, and this about the spirits, and they know because they've done, the field work. Well,
Right. Big deal. Field work.
yeah, big deal. I've done field work too, and I'm certainly no pro, and I would never, ever advocate myself as an expert on anything in the paranormal. I'm an enthusiast. I'm a student of it. I like to learn everything that I can, and so your accounts, are extraordinarily valuable to everyone else that's wanting to learn more about the field as well. So please feel free to email. Again, that's paranormalportalradio@gmail.com. So I'll be looking for your emails. You can let us know what you've experienced. And don't think it doesn't have to be a sensational, epic tale of, near-death experience and, barely making it alive. It's just, if you happen to be eating your cereal and you notice your milk glass glided
across the table
4 inches, it's like, cool. I want to hear about it. That to me is absolutely compelling. It doesn't have to be, geez, the knife plunged into the wall right next to my head and my bed was shaking and my sister's head spun around and she vomited pea soup. I mean, you know what I mean? It just doesn't have to be like that. It's just tell me what's going on. Geez, you got a cupboard door that opens. There's no reason for it. Tell me about it. I'd love to hear all of these things, and I'm absolutely interested in the most mundane of stories and the most epic of them all together. So don't be shy. We'd love to share your accounts. If you don't want to share it, tell me too. If you just want to talk about it, if you want my advice on what you've experienced, I'd be happy to weigh in. If you're having a situation where you need some help, please let me know. I will put you in contact with people that I know and try to find you some resolution. This isn't just about sharing stories. It's about, trying to create a community.
Connections.
Yeah, making connections. Absolutely.
Networking, yep.
Networking. We are networking.
We are true networkers.
Yeah, that's right.
That's why we're actually live on the radio.
We are, absolutely. We're live on the iHeart Network. We're live on TFRlive.com. That's our home station. And we're live on TuneIn, and we're live on YouTube. And we're going to probably try Facebook at some point too, but I don't know. I'm just taking this one step at a time. One step at a time. I don't have anything against Facebook. I don't think, even Jimmy Jean, I think, was in the chat room talking about how Facebook is unstable. And that was our experience too.
Yeah.
And when we tried to stream prior to this, we had enough problems anyway with just the hardware being outclassed by what we were trying to do. But the Facebook stream was always the first to fold. So I'm a little more tentative about getting on Facebook, but we will be there too with these streams eventually. I think, anyway. I think so. What do you think of that, Don?
Yeah, definitely.
All right.
Definitely. We want to hear them, and we want to, we want to hear your stories, and we want to be able to get this going on all platforms that we can, so that way we can spread your story.
Absolutely. I got to position so I'm not like hiding behind my microphone.
Like this?
Like as the night goes
this?
on, I'm like over here like, blah, 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 blah.
I had to scoot my chair back a little bit so I could be seen, because everybody wants to see the bald chin. Watch out, he's a bald chinian.
They want to see a naked chin.
Naked chin. Look at this. Look it.
Absolutely.
Notice all the gray of the old man.
It's the only nudity we allow here on the portal.
The naked chin.
That's right. It's a family show. And so far, there's no rating on your chin, Don. So we're doing good. All right, let me get back to my job here. I'm getting all over the place. All right, so this one's called Ghost in the Library. My parents are frequent movers, so the majority of my schooling life was spent in boarding school. I won't be naming the school for reasons well known, but excuse me, God, I've been reading a lot and talking a lot. But I can tell you, it's quite an old school in India, with a long history and notable alumni. Sorry, I got to turn this one down. This one's a little louder. Actually, I think I'm going to skip this one. It's a little poppy. I got to pull this from my playlist. There we go. Much better.
You mean like poppy as in noise, or poppy as in like popular?
Just, I don't know, just that beat.
Noisy.
Is just
Okay.
ding, 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 ding. It just doesn't fit. It doesn't fit the paranormal mood that I'm trying to create here.
Naked Chin 2.5, the sequel.
Naked Chin 3, The Revenge of Naked Chin. I don't know. We could go all night on this chin thing, ladies and gentlemen, but this is a paranormal show. So, and as paranormal as John's chin is?
That's Don Shinzo, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Excuse me. Wow, I'm froggy as hell. I just don't like winter air, the heaters and the dryness. It just makes me just start to mucus all up. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. So, this person's in boarding school in India with a long history of notable alumni. So, in my school, every student had to choose from various clubs like chess, poetry, writing, news, sports, gardening, etc. So mine was poetry, and all the poetry club members also ran the library with the librarian and his staff. The library was rather extensive, with books on every single subject, 2 floors, and a reading area right in the middle, and with rows and rows of bookshelves all around. So it is here that my story starts. As I've told you, this school is very old, and when a school is old, stories abound. One such story is that during the early 50s, people fresh from the independence struggle stormed into the school, which still had many British students. Those whose parents refused to go back after the independence refused to leave the country they were born in, even though their ancestors were from another country. So these children were rushed into the library and lynched by the mob. Ooh, that's horrible. Yikes. And the library burnt. The library had since been rebuilt, and over years the small country library has grown well and kept and stocked library. Okay. So one night the librarian's daughter had the flu, and there were a couple of books due that day, so he asked me to cover for him for a couple of hours, and since it was a Saturday and we were a boarding school, kids do not have a vibrant weekend life like you do in public school, guys. I decided to help this guy out, so all alone at 9:30, I decided to read some magazines. Interesting articles in the Nature magazines about some Japanese guy who had developed a new way to grow oviparous animals without an egg.
Okay.
With peptone broth as a nutrient reservoir and a semi-solid sea kelp-based substance as a microenvironment about a Finnish group activists who were against lab testing on animals. So this was my weekend, and I quite liked it. Wow, you know how to have a good time.
That's great, yeah. Woohoo!
Jeez. After waiting a few more hours, I surmised that no one would come in now, and the librarian was obviously asleep, so I decided to close the library and go back to my room. I was about to bolt the main door when I heard the sound of footsteps coming up from the contemporary literature section. I decided to check it out. Once there, I called out, but there was no reply. And just to make sure, I went inside, since this was one of the underlit portions of the library, and this was the middle of the night. I took the librarian's torch and went on patrol. There was no one in the first 2 rows, so I walked into the 3rd row, already anticipating it empty, but just to make sure I checked it out, and voila, we had our mystery intruder. I saw a young boy about a foot shorter than me. He was wearing the colors of my house, though I did not recognize the jersey, and as a matter of fact, I had never seen him in my house at all. All members of the house stay in one hostel. New student probably, so I asked him if he was lost and if he wanted me to take him back to the house. He did not answer, just kept staring at me. For some reason, he was afraid of me. Even his face looked pale. Or it was his complexion. I could not tell, but I could tell he was scared. I tried to edge forward, suddenly realizing that I had indeed seen the jersey somewhere, and the kid looked more and more in horror. I, to ease him, asked his name. Hold on a sec. Asked him his name, and he did not tell. I even offered to walk him back to our house, but he just stared on. And finally, when I was just a feet or so away, he let out a scream, a shrieking scream, and in the light of the torch, I saw that his mouth was missing a tongue.
Ooh.
Now it was my turn to nurse horror. I turned around and quietly walked away, not looking back or running, confused about what I had seen. The shrieking had stopped, but I could still hear his footsteps behind me. It was like I was being followed. As I walked out of the library, I could not muster the courage to turn around and lock the library up. I ran back to my house and quickly jumped inside my blanket. It was winter, and the place was generally cold, but I was sweating. I could not sleep that night. The next day I walked to the librarian and told him what had happened, and weirdly, he did not look fazed. He let me go without a scolding for leaving the library open. Finally, as I was walking back to the house, I finally remembered where I had seen the jersey, in the memorial for the children who died that fateful day. This incident still haunts me, not because I had an encounter with the spirit, but because of all that a child had to endure. Yeah, that is horrible.
So that was one of the kids that got lynched during that.
It was, yeah.
Wow.
What a horrible thing. I mean, you know, I understand politics, but what I will never understand is making...
How do politics affect children?
That's exactly it. How do you make a child pay for,
Yeah.
you know, become responsible for you being oppressed or
view.
something? Yeah. I mean, I understand the British rule must have been, you know, I don't know, insult, maybe. I don't know. But, yeah, clearly to, you know, just take out a bunch of children is horrible.
Will you look at your cat?
Why would I look at him? Oh, he's on your lap?
He's been walking around like, ow, 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 ow. Now he's biting me. Okay, now he's down. He's been good the whole time.
Well, that's good. He's usually a real snuggly, lovey guy. So,
Oh, well, he didn't like that
Anubis,
position.
my little Anubis.
Yeah.
I like that name. Just fits.
Yeah, especially after he bit me.
You got something against Anubis?
No, but apparently he's got something against good tasting meat.
No, he doesn't. Apparently
not.
apparently he's just fine with it.
It's not grilled.
Absolutely. Wow. All right. So the next one is drum roll, please. No, I'm just kidding. Don't drum roll. I was just joking. Get away from the pitch. Dirt. That's your drum roll? Seriously? Wow.
What'd you want?
This has a 0 out of 5 rating. So
You know, I use a sequencer to keep beat.
I'm sure you do. I'm about sick of hearing about sequencers for tonight. This is a 5 out of 5. It smiled back. That sounds like a good story.
Oh, that's a good story.
That sounds like a good one to me. It smiled back, ladies and gentlemen, coming right up here on the portal. All right, so this happened. This was submitted May 9th of 2017, so rather new. All right, hello. It is December 15th, 2015. My name is Mario, and I am 29 years old. Not anymore, you're not. I have a stable head on my shoulders, and I have led a good life. I am going to share an experience of which I am most distressed about, and from what I understand, I am not the last to view it in its entirety. It is the reason why going out for my night walks makes me nervous, constantly looking over my shoulder every time I hear the trees sway or the leaves rustle, and more importantly, why I never go out at night alone. I have spent years researching and scouring books and the web for any additional information about the thing I saw that night, but to no avail. The backstory about where I lived in the city of McAllen in the grand state of Texas, and no known supernatural occurrences could be found in the area of my neighborhood prior to this. I live in the neighborhood that can be best described as run down but passable to live in. I live in a gated neighborhood, and our house, trailer, was in an enclosed fence that we locked every night. I lived in a raised trailer, raised about 3 feet off the ground on cement bricks on all points, making the windows about eye level for someone to peer in if they were to be on the outside, a point for later. My bedroom had a window and had a light on the outside for good measure. This happened on the night of May 19th in the year of 2002, 13 years ago. I was a freshman in high school, aged 15 years old, and had blown my whole week not doing my English final exam project, which consisted of 2 essays and 6 poems in different styles. All of them had to be typed, so that meant my good old computer was going to have a long night. As I often did in my educational career, I waited to the last minute, and it was now Sunday. Naturally, I waited till I had my fun and started my school work past midnight. Oh, no.
Nice.
Wow. It was now 2 a.m. in the morning. and was nearing the end of my assignment when I began to feel uneasy. The feeling lasted for more than an hour, and I started to feel more and more anxious as time went on. It was nearing 3 a.m., and the only thing I could think of was finishing my project for school, as it was due on Monday first thing in the morning. The feeling was still there, and I began to rationalize that I was imagining things and thought it was attributed to the staying up past my bedtime. I have often at this point stayed up past my bedtime. 10 p.m. my family was strict. Playing Super Smash Brothers on N64 with friends or watching movies, and never have I noticed anything out of the ordinary. Still, I could not take it any longer, the unnerving feeling of being watched. You could see my room was the only room visible from the outside. No bed curtains, essentially no privacy. The room light was on the outside, so the room light was on, so the outside could see me very well, as if I was on display in the night for a zoo on the life of a high schooler. It is at this moment I gazed up from my computer screen, looked up at my bedroom window. The feeling akin to something that was along the lines of being watched was coming from my window. I felt very alienated, very exposed, and very foolish that I could go for so long into the night and not put a cover on the window for privacy. The sense of dread increased, and I walked up to the window to check for onlookers to calm my nerves. I looked for any sign of anyone, and from my light from my room to the outside light source from a light pole, I saw nothing. My face was inches away from the window as I hunched my body to look into the darkness. I looked for anything outside the reach of the lights to see if there was anyone out there spying on me, to see the source of my unease, and I found nothing. Then a terrible dread came over me. I saw it. I saw something within my own reflection, literally inches from my own face. I rationalized that I thought it was my face, so I moved and swayed, and my own image followed, as expected, but what remained was a shape. And then I thought that it was a shadow cast by the two small plants underneath my window, and saw nothing leading from them. I grew increasingly more anxious and sighed with relief when I finally realized that it was my shadow. My shadow was indeed there, but it was light in contrast compared to the shape that remained in front of me. A cold feeling came upon me, and the subtle hum of my computer faded, and it was silence that greeted me. Fear seized me. I stared at it, and I finally exhausted all of my plausible explanations for it. I just stood there. It was humanoid in shape as it stood there, bathed in the light from my room and light pole. I could make no details in its form. It was no reflection. It stood on the outside, and for its form to reach the windows at its spot made it standing about 6 foot 4 inches. I could clearly see my own reflection over it. Curiosity took over, and for once I was no longer afraid. I leaned in closer to get a better look at it, and it was all I could call it. It had no visible skin, no hair, no depth of form. No light reflected off it, nor did the light reveal anything. I saw no patterns on it, nor anything to give it a profile. This thing had no sex, no race, to anything to give it a human appearance. It was as dark as darkness could be, devoid of color, a shadow with form and shape. My face was closer now than ever before. And, God, we got 2 minutes left. I hope I can read this. Yeah, I think I can. And any closer, and I could feel the cool glass brush against my skin. Then as I struggled with what I was looking at, I gave a nervous laugh and a smile, as I always do in uncomfortable situations. Then this thing, this shape, it smiled back. There before me, with a horrendous flash of teeth, it smiled and smiled. Its teeth were white, the sharpest color of white I have ever seen. No discoloration, no stains, almost perfect. If the fear I felt before was fear, then what I was feeling now was more of utter terror.
Wow.
I am sure my face was of utter shock and terror, and no amount of teenage angst or confidence could save me. Grant you, my face is extremely close to it at this point. Its sickening smile was all that I was preoccupied with. I could no longer bear it, and then I saw them. There they were, blood red, a deep red color of blood work, its eyes. And at the center of were the darkest pupils I ever did see, outside of a Hollywood horror film. The eyes were the portals to the soul, and its eyes were empty, and they were dead of anything remotely human. Our eyes locked, and horror, pure utter horror, grasped me. As soon as I saw its sinister form of a face fell to pieces, I fell back from the window and screamed in terror. The fear had never felt so raw and visceral before. I struggled to get up, but my fear, I could only gaze at its face, its horrendous smile, and its hellish eyes. I backed into a corner behind the bed and hid, believing the makeshift blind could shield me from its gaze. It didn't. Ladies and gentlemen, that's it for The Portal. Love y'all. Thanks for tuning in, and we hope you have a wonderful night, and stick around for Into the Microcosm with Jimmy Jean. We'll be back on Wednesday for our live stream on YouTube. We'll see you then.
Good night, everybody.